Hi there, this is Sue from Miller's Laboratory. Thanks for joining me today. I'm here to flip through some journals that I just finished, which have a winter theme, and I'm very happy that you came to take a look. If you're seeing this video, then these journals have been listed in my Etsy shop, and you can find the link to that below. I'd love for you to take a look. I have a lot of journals in my shop right now, and it would be my honor if you were to find one that suits your needs. So as I said, these books have a winter theme, and I used an elementary school science book cover. The book was called Winter Comes and Goes. And I wound up getting 4 altogether, and these were published 2 different years, so the covers were a little bit different. The insides were mostly the same, however. And I did use some of the original book pages. I thought the book was going to be all about winter, but it was actually more about the seasons and about weather and things like that. So I've saved some of the pages that have to do with other seasons, and I'll use those again in another book. Just real quickly, I'm going to uncover, take the bows off of these so you can see these covers really well, and then I'll set them aside and we'll flip through the last one. Up on the top in the corner, I've created a little cluster, and it's a little bit frillier than what I normally do, but when I think of snow, I think of delicacy and fluffiness, and just so lace actually really lends itself to that. So I did use a little bit more lace and trims in these books than I typically do. I've just glued on a piece of scalloped edging from some kind of a tablecloth or something, and there's a button here with rhinestones that's stitched and glued, a little bit of vintage light blue eyelet, and then I've crocheted a snowflake here, and that's pinned on with a bulb pin with a little bit of ribbon and a little handcrafted charm, and then another little sparkly button. So it's the same embellishment on all of them. And I'm just going to back out here a little bit. So this cover has kind of a tan color and blue, and then on the side you can see here they have 4 signatures, and I used a light blue waxed thread to stitch those in. That's what the back of the cover looks like. Let me just set that one over here. Now the other one from the same year has a little bit more of a yellowish color to it. Let's take the bow off too. These were school books, so they're scuffed up, they're scratched up, they're well loved and used. I'll just zoom in a little bit here on that cluster on that book, and then you can see again, here's the spine and the back. So it's just a little bit more golden color here than tan. The third one, take the tie off. Again, now this one's more, it's tan again, and it kind of looks like cheesecloth or something, that pattern, which is cool. And there's some dirty spots on here. I have cleaned them as best I can, but you know how old school books are. There's our spine, and then the back on this one just has like a blue band across. All right. And last but not least, we'll do this one, and we'll flip through this guy, okay? Now this one also, just so you see, it had some tape on it, so there's a little bit of a brown stripe on there that I could not get off. Again, it just looks like an old book, which doesn't bother me at all. It's a little bit scuffy here on the corners, and there's the back. All right, okay. The size of these, they are about 6 inches wide and about 8 inches tall. At the spine is stretched a little bit. They're about 1.5 inches, and then at the leading edge here, they're more like 2 1/4, because the book is bulging a little bit, as is typical for me. There are about 165 pages in here altogether, counting both sides. All right, so let's take a look. On the inside front and back cover, I used a digital printout of some eyelet and some lace trim. And then I created a book plate here, and I used an image, but I created the label and glued that in there. Okay, there's a little flip page here, and there's a pocket made out of an envelope. I've put some die cut snowflakes on there, and I also did a little bit of stenciling polka dot there. And then there's a tag inside. That was a digital that I printed of the deer, and then I also stamped on that. It's just plain on the back. This is on watercolor paper, so it's nice and sturdy. On the other side here, there's actually another little flip made from craft paper that opens up, and there's just a little paper collaged at the bottom, but otherwise left plain, so there's lots of place to write here. And then inside here, there's just a little journaling card with a snowman and a little bit of pattern paper on the back. That's light enough that you can write on. This is a little bit of a half page here. It's scrapbook paper with snowflake pattern on it. And then here's a couple pages, original pages from the book. Now on this side, it wasn't about winter, so I did a little bit of collage on there, and I used this pretty image of some girls with their skates heading to go skating. I just thought that was really pretty. I think it's a Kate Greenaway image. Here's just a little stub. You could attach something on there if you want to. The image that's on there is one of some that I got from a book that has photographs of snowflakes in it. This is just a piece from a pretty gift bag that I had. And then this is a digital that I printed front and back. Just some penmanship practice of numbers on one side, and then a digital image of some children on a sled on the other side. This is another digital. This is crocheted lace. And again, this reminds me of snow. So you're going to see this kind of thing several times in the book. This is just some vintage notebook paper, nice and heavy and thick, and just a little image in the corner here. And then this is some notebook paper that's sort of an aqua color, and I made it into a pocket. So in the pocket, we just have a little vintage photo here that I printed and backed with some nice vintage scrapbook paper. And then this is a tag that I created with an envelope. And I just decided to use the envelope as it was, and I cut the corners off to give it the tag shape and put a little tab on it. And then inside I created a journal card that is tag shaped. And it's got an image of a lady in the snow. When we flip over here, I have a CD envelope, and I've put some fluffy trim on the bottom of that. I think it's meant to be roses, like a bridal rose trim, but to me it looks like billows of snow. And inside this little envelope is another little journal card with an image of a little boy with some snowballs. On the other side here, there's a pocket again. And in here, I just tucked a little bird label, some birds in the snow, printed on some nice heavy paper. And then this comes out, but this is also a digital that I printed with some info. It was from a book, and it had maybe some kind of a calendar book or something, but it said something about winter. Now this next page, this was some kind of I think, a religious, maybe liturgical type of a calendar. I'm not really sure. It's hard for me to know, but I did see this that says Martin Luther, I'm pretty sure here. And I just chose pages that were in the winter. So this is November 1906 and December 1906. Here's the half of that, the other half of that digital of the little children on the sled. And then there's our gift bag again. So we're flipping back through the other half of our signature here. This is some vintage blue stationery, and I love it because it's discolored a little bit and faded, and I think that's cool. This is another book page again, and again, there was something on here that didn't have anything to do with winter, so I just printed out this catalog page with flowers that were named after snow, so Snowdrops and Glory of the Snow, and then just added a little washi tape and a little fluff of eyelet up in the corner. On this side, this was about rabbit tracks in the snow, and they were following them, and then as you're reading along, they think that a dog got the rabbit, and it was a little bit alarming, and so I covered that part up with a snowflake that I cut out from paper. And just so you know, the rabbit was not caught by the dog. The dog did not get it. You can kind of see right down there. So don't worry, the rabbit's okay. You'll see him later in the book. Okay. On this page, this opens up, and I just did a little bit of, there's a little fuzz on there. A little bit of collage on this page. You can do some nice journaling, lots of space there for journaling. And then on this page, I made like a little over the top top tuck or top page hanger. That's what you call it, a page hanger. Oh my goodness, I couldn't find the words. And it's got a pocket on each side. So here's another little winter bird, and here is a advertising card. These are both, again, these are not original ephemera, these are printed out. And then the craft paper that I made that out of, I did some painting on and some doodling with gel pens. When we flip that over on the other side, here's another little snowbird image. And then this is a little tag that I created from some kind of a calendar image that has a woman in the snow on it. This is a plainer page, but I used a vintage paper doily on there. I thought it was really pretty. I think you could probably still write over that if you're careful. And then this is a page from a school notebook, like a planner. This is an image I printed onto tracing paper, and this is a dictionary, vintage dictionary page. And then here's a scrapbook paper page, and on this one I created a little like a belly band, and I tucked a whole bunch of little documents in here. This was inspired by Leslie at Willow House Journals. So there's a whole bunch of little things in here that I tucked in that you can take out and do whatever you like with. There's a little image of some little children. This is, let me set that down. This is some poems about winter. And this is just a page from a stamp collector book from like the early 1900s, I think. And a page from a penmanship book, also vintage. And then this is something I printed, but it's like a flyer advertising a skating rink. So I just liked the way those looked all bundled together, and you can just leave them like that, or you can take them out and use them for something else. This is a little half page, and on here I just clipped, this could be a journaling card or it could be a bookmark, and it has an image on it of crocheted snowflakes. And the other side, you can see that that was some stationery that had a winter scene on it. Pretty house. This is more tracing paper printed with that doily pattern. And on this page, I've put a little bit of lace along the edge. I've created a tuck here with a printout of a vintage envelope. And then I've also created a couple of little blank postcards. And those are on paint chips. And I used colors that had to do with winter. Winterscape Blue, Big Chill. This is just from a vintage business record keeping type book. And then this is an envelope here with craft paper that I painted on the back. And just a little image I added on there to embellish. Inside here there is a vintage, this was actually a Christmas card with some carriages in the snow. Good for journaling there. And then to the center of this signature, I have this really beautiful image of, it reminds me of Edith Holden. It's a children's book called The Big Snow with just really beautiful illustrations in it. So this has got all these pretty birds and a squirrel, and I just love that. So I wanted that to be in the center. You can see the whole thing at once. Another little envelope here with a journaling card inside. This is cut from a calendar, and on the other side I just stitched a length of adding machine tape and folded it up so it's really long. And you could do all kinds of journaling in there, and then there's just like a little belly band here at the bottom that tucks into. So it gives you lots of journaling space on a little card. Here's the other half of that accounting or that record keeping textbook. This is some pretty scrapbook paper that's kind of pearly and has stripes, so that would be nice to write on. And then on this side there's some lace glued to the top to make a little top tuck. And this is an image that I found, I think maybe New York Public Library, I'm not sure. Also lace, but it looks like they did like a cyanotype of it or something, which is really pretty. So I like the blue, got a lot of blue in here. I got a whole book of these, they're cardstock, and they were like shipping record cards. And then this is the other half of the winter stationery. On this page I've got just an adornment here and then a pocket. In here there is a tag that I have made from layers of book page stitched around, and I've glued some tissue paper over that has snowflakes on it. And then this has a little side tuck in it. And there's a couple more of these little bird images here, winter birds. And then this is from a packet that I purchased of like it was a whole package of accounting workbooks and worksheets from I think around the 40s, possibly earlier, and so I just liked the color of that, so I wanted to add that in too. Here's our dictionary again. And then this is craft paper with a little flip, and I also created just a little flip there, just a little place to write something. On this side we've got a printout of another advertising card, and I created another tag for that one. Big pine cone image, and this tag actually opens up like a little card. Okay. There's our doily again, and we're to the end of that signature. This is an image I printed out that I love. It's really beautiful. I love the colors, and it's people skating. I think it's kind of funny because if people were actually, if it was this crowded and people were trying to skate, they would all be running into each other and falling down. But, you know, it's a pretty image nonetheless. And then on the back of that, I just printed some vintage ledger. Now here we have another flip, and here's our bunny. I'm gonna just pretend that's our bunny from earlier in the book. He got away and he's fine. Okay. I just added a little bit of ball fringe trim down there because I thought that was cute. So this is an envelope that flips out, and another just a page ornament there. And then this is also another from another Christmas card, but not really Christmassy. I tried not to put anything Christmas in here, but there are a couple small things, and I'll point those out when I get to them. But I really wanted this to be just a winter journal, not specific to any one holiday. On the other side here, this is how the flap of that envelope was, and I thought it was so cool I wanted to keep it, so I just glued it and made it into a little pocket. And in there, just a teeny weeny little journaling card, and then also another one here with a printed image of some children sledding, and that is just on a length of craft paper. Try to get that all in there, it's big. Okay. Okay, another craft paper that I painted on, and then this is from a vintage Italian book, and that's pretty fragile. I added a little tab on there to help you turn it, because it will tear eventually and you'll have to tape it. This is just a printout of some wallpaper. And then on this side I have a layer of lace making a pocket, and underneath that there's also a ribbon that has some sparkly on it. And so I've tucked another crocheted snowflake in there. And also just a little tag. You could put lots of other things in there too, but just a teeny weeny little tag with a little paper ruffle tab on it. And this is just some graph paper on this side, and on here I've clipped a journaling card that I made from another bird image. I do love my birds. I find that these little paper clips are very tight. There's another little bird image there. Here we have just some plain white, wide open for you to do something fun with. Then on this side, it actually is a flip, and this is another printed image of some lace, and then that opens up, and inside here I have created a little journaling spot. I love this image of Queen Anne's lace with ice on it, and this also makes a pocket. So inside that pocket there's another little bunny, little card, and then this opens up and you can journal inside here as well. So it's like a little faux envelope. Now to break up the blue, I did add a little bit of red in here. So this is some red striped scrapbook paper. And on the other side I've just clipped a little printed photo of a little girl with her muff. And then this is also printed letter or ledger. And then this beautiful image of some trees with snow. And then this is a larger image of a snowflake from that snowflake photography book that I mentioned earlier. In the center here I have a large envelope of vellum, and inside that there is a large journaling card. Printed wallpaper on the back, and just an image again of a skating rink. And then we're going back through our signature again. So here's the other half of that snowflake image and the trees. On the other half of the scrapbook paper here I made a belly band, and I did the same thing but not as many little things tucked in here. A little image of a lady again in the winter. This is just from a German book, and I love that it's got all the handwriting in it. And then a pretty little folded book page. I reinforced this with some tissue paper because it was pretty fragile, so that's actually 2 layers. And this was the little Swiss woodcarver little book. That one I can just slip back in pretty easily. So I'll take a second here and do that. All right. Keep making sure I'm in the middle here. Okay. All right. On this page, I created a little grungy little tuck spot with some wrapping paper and stencil and some doodling on there. There's some stenciling on here too with some cream colored paint. And then I just printed this image of the deer in there. Kind of roughed it up to make it look old. On the other side here, this is the other half of that, and I made it into a triangle shaped tuck. And this is just from a Christmas card that I cut the front off of. I thought that was pretty with the cardinal. Here's the other half of our graph paper. This is some really cool packing paper my daughter gave me. It's like crepe paper, and I've gotten some before too that was yellow. This was blue, and so she gave it to me. She knew I was working on these books and was using a lot of blue. It was just a small piece to divide up between all 4 of the books, so I actually extended it with this other printed image, and so that folds right up and tucks inside this little circular ornament thing. So it's like a secret journaling spot. And there is exactly the same thing on the other side. This is the page where I just printed out an image of 2 ladies out in the winter time. Here is our Italian book page again. And then this is the craft paper that I painted on. And on this one I have a little bag that is forming 2 pockets, and I just put a little flip in front of it. This is one of the spots where it actually, I believe this is Finnish, and I think it says Happy Christmas or Merry Christmas. I don't speak Finnish, but I think that's what that is. So there's just a couple of real simple little tags in here, paper that I got from a calligraphy book. And then this is some bookkeeping or accounting paper, just plain. And I made a little pretty, like a little tab, a big tab on there with that blue. This is another one of those images I got from online. And then on the other side here, there's a little pocket with some little children with snowballs. And that flips up so you can journal inside there. And then this is an image of a thermometer. And that is like a journaling card or a tag, whatever you want to call it. It also would be a nice bookmark for the book. Now we're to our last signature here, and on this one I used this wrapping paper. So it's a little bit lighter, but I think it's pretty sturdy. It's just got the snowflakes on there in red and white. And I created a pocket on this side. This is a pretty image. It has nothing to do with winter, but I just liked the colors of it, so I added it in. This was from, I think, a 1957 like appointment book or calendar that I thought, since it has January, that was appropriate for a winter journal. This page is from a typing instruction book. Just put a little bit of eyelet at the top to help turn it. And then this is a piece of graph paper. I added a little lace along this edge, and on this side I cut out an image of 2 ladies skating. Here we have some tracing paper that I printed a frost pattern on. And then here we have some more of the original book pages. This is another little flip that I made from an envelope, a window envelope. Trying to see if you can see the whole thing there. Kept it pretty plain again so you can journal on there. And then there's a little card inside, also printed. Not a whole lot of original ephemera in here. Most of it was digitals that I used. This is a pretty image of a painting in the snow. And a piece of music paper, some red paper. And then here's an image of mittens I found, and I thought that needed to be in there. So there's one here, and then there's one also over on this side. In the center of the signature here, I used this music paper, and then I extended this little bit of tracing paper with the blue pattern on it. So that kind of folds over and closes that, and you could put something inside there. You could even glue the top and bottom and make that into a pocket if you wanted to. Here is the other half, so we're going back through our signature. Just added this little image here of the lady in the winter, and that one also says Christmas on it. That's the other place where it says Christmas in this book. More of the book page, and on here I just created a little place to journal of this pretty image. And then I used a doily on here again because, again, the other half of this book page did not have anything to do with winter. And on here I've got a little pocket. Lots of collage on this page. A little pocket with another paint chip. Pretty little Kate Greenaway girl with her muff again. And then this paper was the end paper from the Big Snow book, which was the one with those beautiful illustrations in the other signature. On this side there's just a double pocket, and I just have these two little tags that are made from Rolodex cards. This graph paper sheet has a top tuck, just an advertisement printed out, and in there I've tucked just a few things. Some looks like college kids playing in the snow. This is just like a actuarial type of a little book, vintage or antique. And then a little image printed on tracing paper of some winter savory. Let's get that back in there. And then on the edge of that I used that little ball fringe again. It's so cute. So cute. Here's our typing paper again. And then we're to the last page, which is another pocket. A journaling card here. A lady feeding the birds. A tag with some deer. I guess it's a deer, one deer. And then another pretty page with winter, a little poem on it. On the back of that, I've just added my label down here in the corner and signed it. And then there is a little pocket here. This is another printout, and in here I just tucked a little card of some children playing with a snowman. And then this is just another little penmanship page from that book, and I just stapled that little pretty on there too. So that's the book. So there are 4 of these, as I said. I really appreciate you taking the time to look at these with me, and again, check out my Etsy shop.